Alrighty, gang. Welcome here to the latest edition of the Matt on Talk Show for September 16th, 2025. I'm Matt On, and welcome to our latest live here, Matt on Talk Show, right here on YouTube. We also got a chat connection tonight going on with our X chat room, so I've been incorporating our X account, Matt on Talk Show on X, so go over there and join us over there as well. And if you're here on YouTube, well, you're already here in the chat room, so just ask away, comment away, say what you like. Same thing for everybody joining us on X. Greatly appreciate that. I got the chat room for X here. I also got the chat room for YouTube here, loading up, taking questions, taking comments. We got a bunch to talk about, and it's just a whole bunch of stuff, so I just labeled this Chaos Mania. I didn't know what else to label it. It was just a lot of stuff going on in the world today. How's everybody doing tonight in YouTube? Like, share, and subscribe. Follow us, subscribe to us on X, Instagram, Rumble.com, Facebook, and of course, right here on YouTube. And we got Clapper as well. Clapper is another platform we're on. I haven't updated that in a little while, but I think I'm going to start updating my Clapper account very shortly. So those of you joining us right now, you know what to do. As they say, smash that like button. Subscribe. Oh, man. You know, I get a kick out of when people say that sometimes. We got people joining us over there from our X platform. Dave, what's going on? We got Tom. We got Mary back in the chat room. Yo, Carol, what's going on? Those are some people in our X chat room. We got some people chiming in on our YouTube chat right now. Someone says morning, so wherever they're watching, it's morning, but it's nighttime here. It's, what time is it? 8:19 p.m. here, Eastern Standard Time in the state of Pennsylvania. What is that? Georgia Bulldog says, I will subscribe to you. All right, well, thanks. Greatly appreciate that. Yo, Lisa, what's going on? We got Cindy. What's going on, Ron? Thank you for the support, Ron. Greatly appreciate that. A few people there in our X chat. They're lining up over there at X. They're lining up here on YouTube, so greatly appreciate it. What's going on in the world? Where's everybody from tonight in our YouTube chat? I always like to get an idea where everybody's at from our YouTube. Anybody over there in X? Let me know where you're at here. I want to know where everyone's watching from. You know, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on in the news. It's just crazy stuff. I did the quick brief driving with Matt segment last night here on YouTube, and we're going to be talking about the Charlie Kirk business. That's still hot in the news. So we're going to be talking about old Charlie. We're going to make some mention about the Colorado shooting, what happened there, and of course the Ukrainian woman who had her neck slashed back in late August on that bus. Tragic incident that happened there. Mike in our X chat says, it is despicable what some people have done to the Charlie Kirk memorials. Yeah, I've seen some of that going on there. People trampling and people getting charged for that. What do we got here? Oh, wow. It's 7 a.m. where, what is that? How do you pronounce that? Lulu? How do you pronounce that? She says morning, or he says morning, and it's 7 a.m. where they're at, so that's pretty neat. Where are you at? Jason in our X chat says, with this whole Charlie Kirk incident going on, it is just out of control what's going on in this country, and I kind of have a fear for my life. Yeah, it's getting pretty crazy now in this country. It's been a while since we've felt this way as a country, but it's just uneasy wherever you go, whether or not you have kids in school, you're in a workplace. I mean, all this stuff that I'm going to be talking about today is just shootings, stabbing. Look, there was this Ukrainian woman who was just on a bus minding her own business, and she got stabbed. And she didn't do nothing. She was just on the bus, and this guy got up behind her and slashed her throat. stabbed her in the neck repeated amount of times. And then he has the goal as he's walking away on video surveillance saying, I got that white girl. And then you wonder why there's such chaos in this country nowadays. You know, these people that do these things that we're talking about today are the complainers about it. But yet they create more havoc because there is something mentally wrong with all these individuals that we're going to be talking about here today on the show. This is an example of why if you detect somebody that there's some mental problems going on, or there's some depression, some weird anxiety stuff going on, something that's not right about the individual, you know, maybe try to talk to him. Just be an extra voice, even if you don't want to be entirely involved. I know people have a habit of that nonsense today where their attitude is, you know, I just don't want to be involved, or they don't want to be inconvenienced by somebody. Well, you know what? Everybody says they want to be a superhero all the time. Why don't you just be that superhero and be just that voice that that person could talk to for 10 minutes? But no, instead we have crap like this that happens. 3 different things we're going to be talking about. And all of these people, I can guarantee you, had some kind of mental disability and needed major help. But unfortunately, it's too late. 2 out of the 3 are still alive. And we're going to be talking about that today. Jim, yes, it's a shame what has happened to this country. Vanessa in our X chat room states she fears for her children's life every time her children go off to school. Is there going to be a school shooting that day at their school? I think the same thing with either one of my kids, my daughter, my son. Could I be at work and then get the dreaded phone call that there's chaos, the school's on lockdown? You know, in my senior year of high school, right before prom, this was like maybe in the last 2 weeks of my 12th grade year, there was one of the fellow classmates from my grade, 12th grade. He ended up calling into the school while he was in the school with a gun, and he was up on another level stating that he was going to shoot up the school. Luckily enough, some of the people that were in charge of the school at the time that I was in acted very fast, very promptly, put the school on lockdown. They got all of us out of the building into the football field behind the high school, and they did all the SWAT teams and everything were there. I remember it. And they came in, did a sweep, found this gentleman upstairs. There he was. And I don't think he really wanted to do it. I think he was just at a point. I guess the backstory is his girlfriend had broken up with him. And he was going to resort to shooting up the school. And thankfully, we were all safe at the time this happened in 12th grade. And he was, of course, charged with everything like that, you know, bringing the gun to school. But weirdly enough, 2 weeks later, we had graduation. He still was granted graduation. They didn't take it away from him, which is interesting. But he definitely served some time, I believe, because of this incident. But he didn't harm himself. He didn't harm anybody. But I think what happened in his mind is this was his way to, this is my last chance. Like, I'm on the verge of either taking my own life or taking other people's lives. And this gentleman, he got the help that he needed. And he was just probably in a dark, lonely world. You know, his girlfriend broke up with him. I think, if I recall the gentleman, I don't think he had a good home family life either. So that probably also played a part in his, you know, all this stuff going on in this guy's mind at the time. But thankfully, he just stayed up there. I think part of him was fearful of taking the life of someone. And then you'd have to live with that guilt that he took that life and took that young adult away from his parents when he could have been a thriving individual. It's disgusting what's happening now. Marlon says, it is very disgusting as what happened, and it's a shame that after all of these years and all these different school shootings over the last 20 years, even dating back to 1999's Columbine, that we still haven't gotten all of this gun control and security of schools under control. I agree. I very much agree. What say the rest of you in our YouTube chat, and keep chiming in over there in our X chat room. Greatly appreciate it, guys. All right, let's get it off here. Charlie Kirk, a lot of business going on there. It's still hot in the news. Charlie Kirk, his shooter, the person that assassinated Charlie Kirk, has been identified as Tyler Robinson, age 22, and he was on top of the rooftop. First shot, he got off, he got this guy, and it just so happened to be on a question that Charlie was answering at the time about school shootings. Now, I've heard of Charlie Kirk. I've never ever watched this guy's podcast. I know he's responsible for the big youth movement that helped carry Donald Trump into office this past year, and got the big vote over Kamala in our 2024 election. So he was big on campaigning. You know, he's big into faith. You know, he's talking about all the, you know, more young students and young people and the new generation, especially Gen Z, should be getting behind a faith movement where there should be more religion, more God in people's lives to make them better people. That was his movement. And he always liked baiting people. I guess some of the stuff that I seen after his passing, you know, I looked into this a little more to find out who, you know, this Charlie Kirk guy. I've heard of his name on the news. I've probably seen him in an interview on like Fox or something like that, but I never really knew anything about this guy. I guess he had a podcast and all this other stuff. And, well, apparently Tyler Robinson, he was actually planning to assassinate Charlie Kirk before it happened. He was on chat rooms days prior to this saying something bad is going to happen to Charlie Kirk on September 10th. Now, that's all done in the investigation. There's other things that lead into the capture of Tyler Robinson. His father, who was a sheriff, turned him in. Now, I'm always curious whether or not Tyler's dad gets this $100,000 reward for turning in his son. And then the other person involved is Tyler's roommate, who also contacted the father and let him know, hey, you know, there's this weird stuff going on here with Tyler, and it's not right. And I guess I'm not sure why the media has to emphasize that the roommate of Tyler Robinson is a transgender furry. Not sure exactly why they're emphasizing that. We're going to be digging more into the roommate. I mean, more stuff will come out. Apparently, right now, he's in the stages of cooperation with the police and the FBI on this investigation and continuing to get answers. Tyler Robinson was in court today for his first appearance for I guess it's going to be under trial now, the state of Utah versus Tyler Robinson. So we will definitely be talking about this Charlie Kirk thing for quite some time. But again, Tyler Robinson, a very young individual, a Gen Zer, growing up in this time of COVID, all this racism going on for the last, you know, it's been ramped up pretty big. The diversity, equity, and inclusion BS that's going on in this country where people are put down because of their color. That's another disgusting thing that shouldn't happen anymore. Young men becoming incels because of whatever challenges are presented. You know, I mean, I know this dating world is garbage anymore. So, I mean, we're going to find out all kinds of stuff with this Tyler guy. He just had court today. We're waiting for more results on that. More stuff's going to come out in the days following with this Tyler Robinson guy. And I'm pretty sure, just like I stated in the beginning of this broadcast, he's probably a very mentally disturbed individual who probably suffered a lot of stuff. I mean, praise to his dad for turning him in. I mean, he is a sheriff of all things, but I'm willing to bet you 10 to 1 it'll come out, in Tyler's words, some form, shape, or way, that he grew up in a very strict household because of who his father is. His father was probably a well-respected sheriff, and he probably laid down the law. He was probably tough on things. And as time had went along, his son probably didn't like that stuff. You know, being disciplined hard. This father who was the sheriff of Tyler probably tried hard to bring him up in a world there's just so much utter chaos, like the name of our broadcast here tonight. So much utter chaos and disruption in this world that he didn't want his boy to be like these people that are disturbed now. And now Tyler, his life is ruined now. He ruined his own life because he's very disturbed. We will wait to see what happens. But you know what? Another individual that was sad. Well, I mean, he's no longer here on the planet, but I'm not going to give any praise to him at all here. Hell no. Another person who's very disrupted. The Desmond Holly, age 16, and he was responsible for the Colorado school shooting that took place on that very same day Charlie Kirk got assassinated. Now, the reason a lot of that Colorado school shooting did not pop up all over the place is because the Charlie Kirk assassination took over the entire news for that day and the days that followed. Only trickle bits of the Evergreen High School in Colorado leaked out in the days that followed. So, Desmond Holly, he's a 16-year-old gentleman that had went to Evergreen High School, and he came into the school with a revolver. He shot 2 of the students, killed them, and then took his own life. Now, I seen photos of the Charlie Kirk assassination for what I was able to find. That's very disturbing. The only way to try to get around that being burnt into my brain and cause PTSD is to make myself think that it was, this is just a movie, despite it was reality. Then I saw the photo that came out from the authorities there in Colorado that had reported to the scene of the Evergreen High School, and it was just blood all over the place in this classroom, thanks to this Desmond Holly student. Should be ashamed. Again, another disturbed individual probably took his dad or one of his family members or friends' revolver, took it into the school, shot up 2 fellow students, and then took his own life. Because at that moment, after his rage took the best of him and he killed these other 2 people, he was like, F-U-C-K, I'm effed. So he took his own life. So there's that. That was the Colorado shooting. Then we had, it came more to light within the last week, of course. Even though, despite it happened on August 22nd, 2025, we had a 23-year-old Ukrainian girl stabbed in the neck by D. Carlos Brown, who was a 34-year-old individual, and he was charged with first-degree murder for I believe what is called the Lynx Light Rail Train, that he stabbed this Ukrainian girl in her neck. And she was just there on the bus, minding her own business. And then on the security camera footage, he got up, he's walking out. Everybody else that's sitting around is just in complete shock at what they just witnessed. And then all the camera could pick up was him carrying the knife. I got that white girl. Like he was just in a stabbing fest. Well, he did stab this girl multiple times. But now, again, another individual, 23-year-old girl who was probably trying to escape the Ukrainian world and come here to America to get away from all that chaos between Ukraine and Russia over there. And then this Yahoo, who has a record of criminal background, whose brother is also convicted individual, as well as the father also being a criminal himself. So D. Carlos Brown has a legacy here of being involved with crime-related stuff. Father, brother, and himself. Again, all three of these individuals, Tyler, Desmond, D. Carlos, all very disturbed individuals. This should be the disturbed week last week. That's what happened. All this chaos came out and it was just all over the news. And it's nothing positive. All of that negative business. Phil, yes, it's very disgusting. This poor young girl got murdered by this criminal. He better get the death penalty. Yep. And you know what? That's what's on the line for Tyler Robinson as well, the death penalty. Donald Trump came out on the news and was saying he should be put in the front of a firing squad for this. I doubt that'll happen, though. But it's nice to think of, right, DT? Hey, DT, what's up with these economy prices? Are we going down or what, man? This living is getting kind of hard, man. Just giving you the word, man. Just giving you the word here. Don't want you to forget. You know, DT's back out there bombing again. Out there, all these drug boats again. So that's like 3 times now he's out there bombing drug cartel boats out there in the Caribbean and all that jazz. Psst. So that's it there. It's just chaos. Chaos mania. And it makes you wonder what's next? What is next? Let's take some, let's go over to our X chat. Anybody that's still alive in our YouTube chat, they get all hot. As I always say, it turns to dead fish in the YouTube chat. And there's people here. I don't know what's going on. We got other people here from the X. Heather says, I fear sending my daughters to school. Yeah, because you don't know. You go to, even to college. That's where this Charlie Kirk business happened. They happened out of college, and everybody just scatters. And then this Yahoo's caught on security camera footage running off the roof and then jumping down. We got Chip Douglas in the chat room. He says, this world is messed up. All these people need to be charged ASAP, death penalty style, baby. Chip Douglas in the chat room. Yo, what's up, Chippy? We got Ryan in the chat room. I'm a college student and I have to be looking over my shoulders every time because I can't trust what's going to happen here after watching the incident happen at the Charlie Kirk speech. All right. Yeah. You don't know. We don't know. Paula in our X chat says, it is a shame that these 2 individuals who still remain alive can never be helped and could never ever be let back into society again. Yes. Yeah, and they probably most likely won't. That Hinckley guy that shot Ronald Reagan has been denied so many times appeal to get out. Same thing with the guy who had shot John Lennon, still trying to get probation and be let go. Nope, no dice. Those guys will sit in there and rot. Just like Charles Manson, who was a mass murderer, and they kept his ass in that place locked up for good. Same thing with some of the Manson's disciples. I mean, you do crazy stuff like this. You deserve what you get to you. It's called karma. You do bad to others, you deserve what happens to you. And in fact, the things that you had done to others, like shooting them, slashing their throats, that should be done to you. You should be shot like in the stomach so you know what that bullet pain feels like as you're locked to that gurney and then your throat slashed. Am I promoting all that? No. But bad people like these people that we had talked about today deserve that. There's no reason for any of this stuff. And then these people here that we talked about are probably the number one complainers that'll sit here and complain, this person did this person did that to me. The world should be a better place with this. Or like some of these jerk-offs that have been online saying, oh, the world's a better place now without Charlie Kirk. You probably didn't even know much about him, just like I did. Nobody knew nothing about this guy until he was shot. I bet you 70% of the people only are learning about this Charlie Kirk guy after the fact of this happening. Because I didn't know much about this guy. I've heard of him, but I didn't know anything else about him. I didn't know he had a podcast. I didn't know any of this stuff. And I bet you 70% of these other people, the same thing. Some people just straight up don't think in today's society. I've always thought about, I'm a straight shooter all the time. Whatever I say, I say. But these people are a real problem with some of the stuff they say. Some of the stuff they say is just straight up asinine, all right? Bill in our X chat, it is very disgusting and you can't send your kids to school anymore. What's next? Yeah, what is next? They've tried many a times for some kind of legislation in these schools, but to no avail. It's always going to be a dick-waving contest between Democrats, Republicans on proper safety in the school. Republicans, they're all for keeping the guns. Democrats want to get rid of guns. Republicans want all the security in school. Democrats say, no, let's not do all that because it'll get all the kids all hyped up, anxiety, and they'll be more fearful. What do you want? What do you want? And the same thing. Then all these parents are caught in the middle. And how many more kids' lives are going to be lost because of stuff like this? Should I be fearful to just walk out to the mall or walk outside the gym and get shot at or knifed? And then you wonder why nobody wants to go out anymore. Nobody wants to go in public. Everybody wants to be a homebody or an introvert, as the new phrase is said. That's why. Because of shit like this. It's utterly disgusting. I don't know how many more times that I have to say that, but it's utterly disgusting. We're going to slowly start wrapping things up here. We greatly appreciate your time, everybody, here on this Tuesday night, September 16th, 2025. We have everybody in our X chat. I thank all of you in our X chat for participating in the chat, watching the show. Like, share, and subscribe, of course. Greatly appreciate all the support all of you had given me last Tuesday as we did a special impromptu cooking show last Tuesday. Did something a little different, switched it up, and I got a lot of reviews, positive reviews about it. And it was a good grab on viewership here on YouTube. So I greatly appreciate all that. Ray, have a good night. Thank you for the support, man. Jake in our X chat says, Matt, what are you going to cook next? I don't know. You guys got ideas or what? What should I cook next on the show? What should I cook next? That's the big question here. Jared, thank you, sir. Have a good night. I greatly appreciate all your support, sir. What else do we got here? John, thank you, sir. What do we got down here? We got something going on down in our YouTube chat there. Something about love. All right. Hey, thanks. I don't hear I love you enough in my life, so thanks, if that's what you're saying. What's going on here? I don't know what happened there. Glitching on me. I don't know what the heck that was going on. All right. See? You know, this platform here did it again to me the other week.